Uh, well, I don't know. That's for you to answer.
Well, here I'll give him an answer right quick. Do 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 do. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh god. Do you want to fit in paid modding? Let's see if we have if before all our audience goes away, or all audience of anti-paid modders.
Say that again.
Do you want to try and fit in paid modding before our anti-paid audience goes away?
We can if you want.
Yeah, because you said that that stream with Nissan has been deleted. So
Oh
if you want
yeah,
to recall,
he didn't put up the VOD. Um, I mean, it kind of requires a little bit of a step up, but I mean, the entire basis of it is, as I said there, it's less of people really believing I don't want to pay for this, and it really lies more in the idea that you should not get paid. And really, it comes down to the implementation was sort of shoddy. You know, a lot of people state that they do not support it because, um, you know, the modder got such a small cut. But frankly, the problem with it and the reason the prices were so high is because modders don't have a business background. Um, you know, people are going into this with the idea that a mod is going to cost between $2.50 and $10. And they get that idea because that's sort of what happened when they first rolled out paid modding. Because these guys were like, well, fuck. This is a cool idea. It's not going to last. So, you know, I'll make my money while I can. With that idea, you're going to get extremely inflated prices. No one really knows what it's worth. Because even in the case of, what was that? That Argonian assassin armor, which was, as far as I remember, the only 100% from scratch for paid modding specifically. You know, that kind of thing, it takes a long time to make a character or an armor. And when you work out the rate for it, it costs a lot of money. And these people kind of attempt to pass that off onto the end user to try and make up that money in the first sale. You know, you spend 2.5 weeks making an armor, put it up for $2.50, you'll make your money back by the end of the day. But that's not what it's about. You know, you accept a lower cut because it's about the lifetime accruement of money. You know, it's not, I'm going to make $400 in one day. You know, it's very simply, you know, we've had the discussion before when we were making the Ranger. Hypothetically, how much would you be willing to pay for this? And we got that one answer that was $30. Not gonna happen. You know, it's gonna be like, I don't know, 10 cents maybe. You know, if you've got the base price, the very lowest you can charge, of 1 cent, you get 255 mods, which is pretty much unworkable unless you know how to merge your plugins and you're good with, you know, making everything run. You're still only paying $2.50. It's less than a pack of cigarettes. I spend that much per day. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Yeah, you guys can
well,
jump in at any time.
well, for the modding thing, I mean, I usually try and I trick a non-bash Bethesda view of this. I actually don't really take any view of it. I'm not an expert, but when the Steam storefront for the paid modding was up, most of the mods, even the approved mods, felt like a kind of fu to the buyer. Like it wasn't helping. Like they got some guy who made a crowbar, and it turned out like he had been given a hand or something like that. There was an armor mod for sale which had been implemented in the world, and one of the things you're asking for when paying for something is extra value. for example, Gopher mentioned it in the other stream. He said one of the things you pay for in paid modding is a compilation of all the free mods in one set, working together and everything, and that'd be something you paid for, even if all those mods were free somewhere else. But the fact that you have a mod that's not even implemented properly, you have other mods which are just, which aren't worth the price they're worth. It all just felt like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And the whole thing came to an end with not Bethesda turning it off, it was Steam turning it off. So it made me think that Bethesda actually didn't want to turn it off, and I felt like they're more inclined to do this in the future. I'm not against it, I'm just saying Bethesda are going to go into it with their interests first.
Yeah. Well, I think the easiest way to put it into perspective is, it's not that we need all of this stuff. We just need it to be properly curated with interactions. You need to have a stepped pricing system. If you're paying for a new armor, a new weapon, if it's just one, you're going to have a base price of 1 cent. It might go up as high as 50 if it's some crazy, took 10 months to make and it's got a billion different configurations. You might pay a couple of bucks for an armor like that. But you need stepped pricing depending on the content hours. So
go on, sir.
You're never going to pay more than $1.50 for an armor or a weapon or something like that. If you're submitting a companion mod with a side quest of 2 to 3 hours, you're not going to pay more than 75 cents to $1. If you are submitting a short quest line, I say short, but it's not really, a short quest line of 5 to 8 hours, you might get $2 for it. And if you are submitting something like a fucking DLC sized thing, featuring a shit ton of new weapons, 4 or 5 new armors, voice acting, etc., you're gonna see that going for between $5 and $7.50. So the problem is, people don't understand these prices. They think, well, we just made a DLC. Those sell for $25 in the case of Far Harbor. Why don't we get that much money? The thing is, this is not technically a job. You are creating content, yes. For the player base, yes. However, your mod, your storyline, is dependent on the intellectual property of Bethesda. And as much as the quality is, you do still have to, in technicality, pay royalties to use that platform. By doing that, you are accepting a cut of maybe $2. Automatron's $10, DLC $7.50. That's fine. But you're not going to make up all the man hours that you lost by making this. For a DLC sized thing, you're going to invest a couple of thousands of hours using a 5 to 10 man team, if not more. And that's a lot of hours. That is a lot of money if you are paying each person an individual professional rate. But the thing is, you are making that cost back over the lifetime of the mod. The higher the quality, the better the content, you are going to get quality stuff. You can sell a shitty 20-second ESP edit for, a maximum of 50 cents, and you might get 100 downloads until someone makes a comment giving people instructions on how to do it themselves for free. It's not until you start working into the competitive content market that it actually starts to make sense. Now, you guys talk about that for a second. I'm trying to get the XO2 render in the high res for Saigon.
I don't mind the implicit suggestion that mods will become, even if they equal the content of the DLC, would come at, say, half the price of DLC. So if you make something equal to Automatron if you work your wizardry and all the models in a great customization system and a fairly compelling quest with interesting dungeons and so forth. And if Automatron is $10, then that very big mod would be about $5. I'm happy to accept that. In terms of, I actually want to put our money where our mouth is here, and say, give you the audience an answer. How much would we charge for our stuff? Now I've thought about this, and I would say for the NCR Range armor that's completely complete, including riot gear, skin jobs, and lots of little addendum things, I would say 80 cents. And for Exo 2, I would probably put it at something similar. And then that's just the price you feel, I don't really have anything to back that up. Because I'm just imagining for Steam and looking at all the DLC for the other games, and they would sell some skins for another game or something like that for about $1.60, or something comparable. So I thought just saying what we would actually charge, I would actually charge the mods for, would help other people see where we're coming from. Does anyone in the chat have any opinions on that?
I kind of like the idea of, the market's going to decide. There's going to be people that are making, like you said, like quick ESP edits, and somebody will try to sell it, and then somebody will make the same thing and put it up for free. But with real quality mods, if you put your time into making something that's really cool, it's going to be worth what people are willing to pay, and it's going to be up to you to decide. Do you want to sell one to one guy for $30, or do you want to or do you want to make it available to anybody for under $1?
Well, I would prefer it for rated system. I would prefer Bethesda to choose quality content that should be bought, because you're going to have people that are pirating mods, that are putting up fast changes, but unfortunately I don't think Bethesda are going to do that, because that's a huge overhead, and I don't think it's worth it at that point. So for them, there's every minute of development costs money, and anything you can cut is a benefit. So I think there's an argument to invest in mods, definitely. I just don't think Bethesda follow that argument. And that argument for mods is that it makes the product last longer, for one thing. But I don't think Bethesda are interested in that.
That kind of brings up the point of the donation button. The donation button is more than enough, frankly, in my opinion. However, no one ever uses it. We've had things in our streams where we have hypothetically contemplated the price of our mods. Boggleville, your point is valid. I understand, and that is why the donation button is not enough. We've contemplated this. We've had people value the art we make at around $30. Someone is willing to pay $30 for the Ranger alone. For example, I have had one donation in the entire time I have been modding, and I got that last week. I've been modding for over 10 years. I'm okay with the donation button, and I totally get that you don't always have the money to, click the donation button and give anything meaningful, and that's fine. I'm happy to have your support. But the thing is, as far as paid modding goes,